And we're live here on YouTube. I'd like to welcome those listening in podcast land, if it ever gets there. And also my buddy Rich. Rich, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Mike. Yeah. Pretty solid day of work. Working on, got double barrel in the coffee over here. So, but pretty solid week. Got some yard work done this week as we had we had a landscaping crew come out to clear up and do a project for us that my wife and I have been wanting to do for a long time. And yeah, other than that, pretty normal week. How was your week, Mike?
Yeah, it was a good week. We had 2 days off, which the first one I didn't do a whole lot. And the second one, the first one I didn't do a whole lot. Then I had to go to work anyway because I had to work an evening event. Mm-hmm. And then the second one, I did a ton and then went to a work event. So did I really get 2 days off?
Doesn't sound like it.
I don't think so. But I got to relax during the day, so it was nice. Rich, we got a great show going on today. Baseball started, so we got to talk baseball. We also have an esports update. What else we got, Rich?
Well, Mike, we'll be going into the NASCAR corner to talk about Phoenix. Was it Phoenix? Oh, to talk about Homestead, Miami, and Martinsville. And we'll also be talking the NCAA tournament to check in on how our bracket challenge is doing and how our own brackets are doing. All that and more, Michael. What do we got to do first?
We got to go ahead and roll the intro. Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa. This is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich. And we're back. Okay, Rich, before we do any of that, we have the most important thing we do every week. Poll questions. This week we had 4 people vote on the last semifinal for winter activities, making snow angels versus sledding and tubing.
Oh, man, I think I voted so early. I don't remember where I voted, Mike. Can you jog my memory?
You voted for making snow angels.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I did vote. I will. Now I remember why. Because you can make a snow angel wherever you happen to be. By going out sledding and tubing, you need to get the sled, you need to blow up the tube or have the tube ready, and you need to go to somewhere where there is sledding going on and also where it's safe to sled. Because in theory, you can make a snow angel anywhere, anytime, as long as there's snow on the ground.
I mean, that's true. But sledding and tubing is much more fun.
It is.
So
I'll give you that.
I voted for sledding and tubing, along with Ashley Shreepeck and Jason Flanker. 3-1. Sledding and tubing goes on. What do you got next? Next week, we are actually moving. It is springtime. So what are we doing, Rich?
You know what, Mike? For springtime, when we went off the air yesterday, last week, we finalized our list of springtime activities, and we ranked them, and the averages determined their seeds. And this week's matchup will be, I guess before we get into what this week's matchup is, let's tell the folks what the bye weeks are. Going into the automatic bids, going into the next round is going to be Easter egg hunt at number 1, bird watching is our number 2 seed, gardening is our number 3 seed, and bike riding is our number 4 seed. So our first matchup going into it will be picnics as our number 5 seed and spring cleaning at number 12. So that is our
Yeah.
matchup this week. Picnics, spring cleaning. So, Mike, I'll try and get that poll up after we get off the air, but tell them where they can find those poll questions.
You can find it at facebook.com/ballsandsticks, facebook.com/fans of balls and sticks, and Rich or I's personal page.
Yeah, and if you're whether you're watching us, whether you found this episode on YouTube or on on your podcast platform, make sure to there'll be a link to where to find the poll in our Facebook page.
Yep.
In there in the description.
Okay, Rich. With that, let's go to NASCAR. As last week we were in Homestead of Miami, and how'd our guys do, Rich?
Well, Mike, before we get into that, we gotta do our sponsor read. You're
Oh.
cheating our unofficial sponsor out of a sponsor read. Mike.
Yeah, that's right. Go ahead.
So the NASCAR Corner is presented by Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated. They're in Moline, Illinois, and you can also find them on eBay. Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated. So, Mike, as you alluded, we were at Homestead, Miami last week for the Straight Talk Wireless 400. Mike, the race winner was Kyle Larson. Mike, how did our picks do?
Rich, your pick of William Byron finished 12th. My pick of Christopher Bell finished 29th. That moves you up to 4-2 on the season.
All right. On the fantasy side, let me bring that up real quick. All right. In our league with Homestead Miami, Mike, you were the winner of the week with 192 points. I was the man in the middle with 184, and the new Dupo finished with the bronze at 176. Overall standings, Mike, I'm in the lead with 1018. The new Dupo is the man in the middle with 980, and Mike, you are still on the podium in third place with 965. Going in to the Cookout 400 at Martinsville.
Okay, Rich, with that, you have the honors at Martinsville. Any advice for fantasy for this upcoming week?
With Martinsville, I would, while I would highly encourage you, all three of us, set your lineup, but make sure to circle back to it once the qualifying order gets out. Because I think for me, with it being a short track, it's going to be hard to move up. So if you had a bad qualifying run where you can get stuck in the back of the pack, it's going to be hard to move up. So with it being a short track, so I would load your lineup with people further up on the grid.
Okay, that's a good idea.
But I'm gonna for my pick to win the race, I'm gonna go with Ryan Blaney. The guy's been a top five finisher at this track, no matter whether they're running it in the spring race or the fall race. And I think the Penske cars normally do pretty well at Martinsville overall. And I haven't picked Blaney yet this year for our guessing challenge, so I'm gonna go Blaney.
Okay. With that, Rich, this has been oh wait, I'm picking Joey Logano.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're all sorts of flustered on this, going out of order.
I am out of my brain is. Okay, yeah, so I'm picking Joey Logano. Does pretty well in Martinsville. Yeah, it'll be fun. So.
All right, so that'll be 2:00 over on FS1.
Yep.
Now you can take us out, Mike.
This has been the NASCAR Corner, presented as always by Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated, Moline, Illinois. Check them out for all your sports memorabilia needs on 5th Avenue in Moline or on their eBay store. Once again, this is Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated.
All right, Mike. From the asphalt of the NASCAR track, we're going over to the baseball diamond as the Cubbies had 2 games out in Arizona. With the Diamondbacks, they have split those 2 games.
Yep.
And it almost seems like it was a story of a tale of two different games.
Yeah.
As the Cubs hung on and won on the domestic opening night in Arizona, and then things fell apart last night as they lost 6-1.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to listen to the Friday night game, but I did listen to the Thursday night game while I was doing my walking on the treadmill, and they were up pretty well. But when I had the game going, while I was falling asleep in bed,
Yeah.
I thought they were doing pretty well. But I was kind of surprised by the score, by the final score, with them chipping away at the lead. But they still hung on the win.
Yeah, I ended up listening to the whole thing. It was a great game. Great to see. I mean, Pete Crow Armstrong looks. I mean, great player, showing again why everybody's so excited to have him around. And then Ian Happ doing great again. It's been. I think it looks good. The team looks better. It's early. Things take time to develop. So.
Exactly. I mean, I think. I mean, I know it was now 5 years ago. Now I know that when we were talking about the Cubs trade deadline deals that sold off the remaining pieces, I think I think it was you, were really kind of upset that that Javi Baez wasn't the one that was kept, and because that no look tag. But look at what Baez has done since he left Chicago, and look at what PCA has the potential and is doing in the big leagues and has in continued development. Which guy would you rather have right now, PCA or Javi Baez?
PCA, I suppose, right now. But I still think Javi deserves. I think he's still a good big leaguer, and I think
his stats say different. But his stats say different, and I think that if he had been the one that we had kept and extended and given the contract that Detroit gave him to, I think it would have been another weekly conversation of how, like we had with Jason Hayward, of how many more years until we get out of this contract.
Yeah, Jason Hayward barely got us a World Series ring. He didn't.
He did get us a World Series ring, but 17, 18, 19.
Yeah, but Javi Baez was in the heart of that. Jason Hayward was just there.
He played good defense for us.
Yeah, but he never contributed like everybody else in the team. Like, offensively. His offensive play was such that he didn't really do that much. So that's more what I was annoyed about. Yes, currently Javi Baez looks like he's not doing well in that aspect, and I get that, but I don't know. Maybe he plays different in Chicago.
Okay.
So, okay.
That's fair, but I only made the comment of what I think we would have, because if you looking at the contract that he signed with the Tigers and how far down he's gone.
Yeah.
We probably would have been talking of why did we give this guy the deal, give him that deal. And you could say the same thing about Chris Bryant. You could say the same thing about...
Yeah, I mean...
As of now, the only guy that's really come back to completely bite us, where, man, I wish we would have hung on to him. This guy kind of been Schwarber and a little bit Contreras.
Yep.
And now Contreras isn't... The Cardinals have moved him away from catching. And that's what kind of made him one of our favorite players to watch, because of how well he caught and was good at that back pick throw of throwing behind the runner at first base. And now his defense has deteriorated to the point that he's no longer a catcher.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't know. I think that there's still plenty of good baseball on.
Oh yeah.
To be had with a lot of those guys, and here's the other side though, Rich. They're all still major leaguers.
Oh, except Rizzo.
Except Rizzo,
is
yeah,
still on the sideline, who's still waiting on a team maybe to reach out and sign him.
Other than Rizzo, they're all still major leaguers.
They are. They are still on active rosters. Their roles have changed, or their roles have changed, and maybe their production isn't living up to those contracts. But yes, they all still on major league rosters.
And then I'm also going to point out,
Hmm.
I don't know that I'm ready to admit this. It's been 9 years.
It has been.
These guys have been playing for most of them 10 to 15 years already. Right?
Yeah, so
And-
naturally decline starts to set in.
Yep. 10 to 15 years is where you go, where you start to get your decline and where you start to see a lot of that, those issues come up. And so, honestly, isn't it pretty amazing that that they're still on rosters 10 to 15 years later? Or almost 10 years later?
You know what? I'll give you that one. They're still hanging on, and they may not be starters anymore, or they're starting to see their playing time get turned into be more platoon players. But yeah, even though they're double digits on career years, they are still on the roster.
Yeah. Yeah. So many guys flame out after 1 or 2 years. Most of these guys held on and made a 10, 15-year career out of it. And honestly, we have nothing but good to say about it. By the way, if you're at a bar in Chicago and Javi Baez is in there, you gonna offer to buy him a drink? 'Cause I am. The man got me a World Series that I got to see in my lifetime. I'm all good with it. So, okay.
All right, Mike. So this week, from show to show, the Cubs will still be down in the desert for 2 games. Then they're going to go up to Sacramento, West Sacramento, to play the Athletics for 3 games before coming home for the home opener on Friday afternoon against the San Diego Padres. 6 games, Mike.
San Diego.
How am I going to win?
You know what that means, right?
San Diego.
Agree to disagree. I think they're going to win 5. The A's are a terrible team. They're playing in a minor league ball field. Yeah, it's a big minor league ball field, but still a minor league field. The bats will wake up a bit more. They'll get at least 1 with Arizona, and I think they can come home and get that game against the Padres. So I'm gonna give them 5.
All right, Mike. I'm only going to give him 4. I think kind of laying it down like you did. I'd really love to see a home opener win.
Yep.
I think they can get it. I think they can get one more win out in the desert. And I don't think they'll quite sweep the A's. They're a sneak. I think the A's are. They're a lot of young players, so I think it'll be tough to sweep them. So that's why I'm not going. That's why I'm not going to go 5. So I will go 4.
Okay, Rich, fun stories out of the major leagues.
Yeah.
Let's do some opening day talk. Okay, so first, did you know that the Chicago White Sox are the 3rd team in the last decade to win their home opener by 8-1?
Okay. What makes that significant?
The other team,
Other than I think somebody pointed out that with their opening day win, that was the first time that they were above 500 since 2003.
wow, that's a good stat.
Okay, so what is significant about a team winning their opening day game 8-1?
The other 2 teams to do it was the 2020 LA Dodgers and the 2021 Atlanta Braves. Rich, what do those 2 teams have in common?
Did they win the World Series
They
that year?
did win the World Series that year. So, at a 50,000 to 1, 50,000 to 1, would you put $10 on the White Sox?
No, go ahead and do it. Not going to happen.
Plus 50,000.
Nope. Not going to do it.
So you wouldn't bet $10 and you could win $5,000.
Nope.
I'm not either. But it's still kind of fun. Okay, with that, Rich, you had a stat you wanted to share.
I did. I looked up the player's name while we were while the intro was running, and Cameron Misner of the Tampa Bay Tampa Bay Rays became the first ever major leaguer to have his first career home run be a walk-off home run in Major League Baseball history.
Yeah.
First ever.
Yeah. That's crazy. The dream that every kid... Like, should he just retire right there? Because it ain't going to get any better than that, right?
Except if he hits a walk-off home run in a Game 7 of the World Series.
Yeah, I mean, those are the only two options that you have. That's crazy. Final... I think this is the final opening day stat. Tyler O'Neill for the Baltimore Orioles hit a home run on opening day for the 6th season in a row. Longest streak ever for any player to hit a home or an opening day home run.
I don't know. It's crazy. Crazy stat.
Yeah.
Be interesting. It'll be fun to see if he can continue that next year on opening day.
Okay. So, Rich, with that being said, anything else baseball-wise you want to talk about?
Well, Mike, we got to close the book on our preseason predictions for the World Series.
Yep.
By giving our World Series prediction. So,
Okay.
Mike, when we were talking about the National League Championship Series, my question was, who are the Dodgers going to be beating? And I got to almost repeat that same type of question when it comes down to the World Series. Who do you got the Dodgers beating this year? Because right now, I just don't see another team being able, with the amount of depth and their almost discard for how much money they're putting on their roster in a given year or 20 years down the road with all these deferred payments, that if the Dodgers have a hole or find a way to acquire somebody to keep them off another team, that they're not going to be players at the trade deadline to get reinforcements to plug any holes in that roster or make it so a depth player that might have gotten forced into a larger role due to injuries can go back to being a utility guy for them. So who do you think the Dodgers are going to beat in the World Series?
So I think I said last week that the Yankees win over the Rangers in the
You did.
ALCS. So I think it's got to be the Yankees. So it's going to be Dodgers over Yankees yet again.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with it because I'm just not confident or comfortable with any of my other of the American League teams that I put into the playoffs. And last week I said that the Yankees would beat the Cleveland Guardians in the ALCS. So I feel a little bit better about the Yankees making the World Series, let alone hopefully making it a series against the Dodgers if Garrett Cole didn't have to undergo Tommy John surgery. But I think that at the same time, the Yankees are the type of team that while not as free spending as the Dodgers, or not as free spending when George M. Steinbrenner was at the helm, I still think that they would make an addition at the trade deadline to help them get over the top. That no other American League team, I don't think, will.
Yeah.
So I will also agree and have them losing to the LA Dodgers this year.
Okay.
So with that, Mike, that wraps up our MLB talk. And Mike, I don't think anything really noteworthy came out of the NFL this week. Okay, so let's go over to the hardwood of the basketball court and go over to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, Rich, I'm doing really well this year.
You are, which is a normally, I think our brackets look horrible this year, which is what mine is. I've lost my semifinalist. I've lost a semifinalist, and I lost a Final Four team already. It's gone. They're gone. Now, as we're into our Elite Eight matchups that start tonight.
So I only have one Elite Eight, or two Elite Eights out. That was Kentucky and Tennessee, or Kentucky and Iowa State. Those are the only two teams that I did not make in the Elite Eight. Everybody else I got.
And you have a complete Final Four.
No, yes, I do have a complete Final Four. So
I think by virtue of that, I think that you've won our poll group, unless chaos happens.
Yeah, I mean,
but I think but with both of us picking Houston to win it all, even if I root for everybody else to lose, except for Houston, I don't think I have enough points to overtake you.
Yeah. But
so thank you for everybody that played this.
Ian still
this
has
week
Alabama available, and still has Houston making the Final Four. The rest of their Final Four is busted. And yeah, so Duke, Houston, and Alabama are the only teams they have left. But if Alabama wins it all, that could, I forget how the points work each round, but I thought that would be enough, wouldn't it, to overtake me?
It might.
So. Oh, he's only at 52, though. So, I don't know.
We'll see. We'll recap our tournament bracket pool next week, as we'll have we'll know who is in the Final Four when we record next week. Anything else from the NCAA tournament to kind of touch base on?
No, I'm good.
All right, Mike. You put the NBA into our outline, so we'll stay on the hardwood. Mike, what's on your mind with the NBA?
Did you see the ending to the Bulls versus Lakers game that happened
No, I
a couple
did
nights
not.
ago? Okay.
I did not.
So
unless you're, because I haven't watched a Bulls Lakers game, and I didn't know that there was a replay of a Michael Jordan versus Magic Johnson.
Nope.
Bulls Lakers.
Nope. This happened this week.
Okay.
12.6 seconds left. The Bulls are down 115 to 110.
Okay.
So in that, they have the ball, they get it out, they shoot a three, they sink it. Then they play full court and steal the ball from LeBron James inbounding it for another three.
Okay.
To take the lead 116 to 115. The Lakers come in with 5 seconds left, get a layup, 3.3 seconds left. It is 3.3 seconds left, 117 versus 116. The Bulls inbound the ball, pass it back to the guy, a 47-foot throw. And Giddy sinks it. Josh Giddey sinks it from beyond half court. Bulls win 119 to 117.
Okay.
Craziest 12 seconds I've seen in basketball in years. Like, and then for them to pull off the win in the United Center, like, how nuts is that? Craziest.
I got nothing.
Oh. Okay, I'm gonna send you a link to the last 12 seconds, and you'll watch it on your own, and you're gonna get it. But it was nuts. Anyway, so no, I just wanted to highlight that because that just to me was one of those things that was awesome. Anyway,
I guess since we are doing pretty good on time, I don't recall the last time we kind of looked at our NBA predictions for teams.
Okay.
So let's do that real quick, I guess. So since we brought up the NBA, Mike, so I'll give you a chance to go ahead and bring up the standings, Mike, and we'll go back and check in on how our finals matchups are going. So let me know when you are ready, and we will go, and we'll start with the Eastern Conference teams. So in the Eastern Conference, Mike, I went with the New York Knicks. We both have an Eastern Conference team winning the NBA Finals. Mike,
Okay.
I went with the New York Knicks, and you said the Boston Celtics going back to back.
Celtics are number one at 64-18 on the season. The Knicks are second with 50-32.
Okay. Mike, over in the Western Conference, these are the two teams that we said would be losing in the NBA Finals. Mike, I went with the Phoenix Suns. You went with the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Timberwolves are third at 56-26.
Okay.
By the way, they're only one game back, but the top two teams are tied.
Gotcha.
So it's the Thunder, Nuggets, Timberwolves. And the Suns are 8 games back, but they're in 6th place, ahead of the LA Lakers. But, by the way, when we get to the final week of the season, or the regular season with the NBA, I likely will change because with the addition of Luka Doncic, the Lakers are a completely different team. They now have the greatest player in the NBA on the team. I'm saying current NBA. I'm not saying of all time.
Okay. I understand. Since we're at it, Mike, why don't you flip over, because I'm sure you're on a site where you can click on a link real quick. Let's go over to the NHL, and let's see how our NHL teams are doing, by the way, while we're at it. So the Suns, with the Suns being 6th in the conference, right now, as of now, they would, I believe you, with the way you explained they would still make the playoffs.
Yep.
But they'd be in that play-in tournament and not making it outright.
I think they make the outright because it's 9, 10.
Oh yeah. It's 8, 9. Yeah, it's 8, 9, 10, and 11 going into that play-in.
Yeah, so they should be good. Okay, so out of the Atlantic, who do we got?
Mike, we just went with a finals matchup, Mike.
Okay.
So, Mike, in the Eastern Conference, I went with the New York Rangers winning the Stanley Cup Mike, you had the Florida Panthers losing in the Stanley Cup.
So the Panthers are number 1 in the Atlantic, and the Rangers are also number 1 in the Metropolitan. So, and they're essentially tied when it comes to the Eastern Conference for points. What's up?
All right.
In the West,
I found better. Sorry. By the conference, Mike, the Panthers are the number 3 seed by points, and the New York Rangers. 1, 2, 3.
in the
They
conference,
are the number 10th team in the conference.
Oh,
In the conference, they are number 10.
No, by points. Rangers are number 1
By
in the
points.
conference. Rangers are 114,
Okay.
and the Panthers are
So
110.
Okay, I am on.
Okay,
By
time out. I may have
Okay.
screwed all of that up because my I'm embarrassed. My site was on 23-24, not 24-25. I didn't notice that until just now. Okay, sorry.
Oh,
The
goodness.
Panthers are
Okay.
91 points, which makes them... Yeah, okay, that completely changes it.
Third in the conference.
They are
So
third in
if
the conference,
We're just
yes.
going by who makes the playoffs. The Panthers are in line to make the playoffs as they are number 1 in their division. The New York Rangers are 2 games they're with the point wise. They could make it as a wild card, but with a record of 34 and 32, they are not in a position to make a wild card spot as the final wild card, as the teams making it as wild cards are Ottawa and Columbus. So they are not within the top 3 of their division.
Okay, I do need to make some corrections because the same site had last year's standings for the NBA. The Celtics are number 2 in the conference, but they have clinched a playoff berth. What was your other team? What was your team? The Knicks.
The New York Knicks.
They are number 3 in the conference and also have clinched a playoff berth.
Our losing teams were the Phoenix Suns and the Minnesota Timberwolves.
The Wolves are 8th in the conference, and the Suns are 11th.
Not going to make the playoffs as of now.
As of now.
All right. So, so thank you, Mike.
Sorry for
double
that.
checking those.
I
But
screwed
this
that
is what
up.
happens when we impromptu say, "Let's take a look at the standings," and don't agree on what site we're going to use before going on air. Mike, going back to the NHL, I have the Minnesota Wild losing in the Stanley Cup playoffs to those New York Rangers, and Mike, you have the Edmonton Oilers winning it all.
Okay. So the Oilers are third currently in the Pacific, and by points they are seventh. And you had, what was the other team you had?
The Minnesota Wild.
They would be tied with 7th, yeah. So both teams are 7th in the Western.
All right. So they both make the playoffs so far.
So far, yeah.
All right. So I believe I think when I was watching the NCAA tournament, they said that the Stanley Cup playoffs start April 19th. So we'll have to make sure before that starts to keep that on our radar to make sure to put our free Stanley Cup Finals predictions in, whether we're going to stick with our current matchups or we're going to modify them. So I'll make sure to look at that, and I'll do the same for the NBA Finals too. So I think the NBA playoffs start in May, don't they?
Yeah, I think
so.
it's
May.
Yeah.
All right. So with all that, Mike, let's go into our quick hits. So before you start talking about the esports, let's go ahead and give a spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. So normally in our quick hit section, we like to talk about our favorite TV show, The Masked Singer. So if you're a fan of The Masked Singer like we are and you haven't had a chance to watch this week's episode, feel free to tune out, put us on mute.
Take your headphones off like Rich did last week.
Yeah, take the headphones off.
But
like I did last week.
Before we get into that, I am going to give you a update on esports, so you have a couple seconds to just before you need to take your headphones off. So first and foremost, we played a match on Monday where we destroyed, and then we played a match on Tuesday where we got beat up nearly as bad as what we did on Monday. So, yeah, it was a little rough.
Gotcha. But it's still early in the Mario Kart season too. So
it is, yes.
You still got time to. Get enough wins to get into the state tournament.
Yeah.
That's going to happen around your birthday, isn't it?
It does happen around my birthday. It's the day after my birthday.
Yeah. So make sure to keep the guys motivated and let them know that we need to come home with a trophy for my birthday.
Yeah. Hopefully. We'll see what happens.
All right. So if you want information on Mike's esports team, look for him on Facebook under Okoboji Esports. Make sure to like that Facebook page so you can get updates on when Twitch or YouTube, when the matches are going to be on Twitch or YouTube.
We only do YouTube.
That Mike posts. And you can also get links for when merch drops happen. So make sure to go out and support, like and subscribe, like and follow the page over on Facebook to and support Okoboji Esports.
Yep.
All right, Mike. So that should be good enough spoiler alert. So if you're still with us and haven't watched The Masked Singer yet, feel free to put us on mute, put the pause button on the episode, and come back and finish up the episode to hear our comments on The Masked Singer after you've had a chance to watch the episode. So, Mike, before we start talking about Carnival Night, I just want to get my thoughts on the Grand Ole Opry night, which I had to take off my headphones.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't had a chance to watch the episode. I liked all three performances. I thought they did really well. I think I was telling my wife during the episode, she was after the Pearl had sung. It's like she literally did say, "Man, I could really use some John Denver. Really love to hear John Denver." And then the Griffin comes out and sings "Take Me Home, Country Roads." I love the performance. I think I was telling her he did great with it. I was telling her, it's like, I don't think of this song as a country song or John Denver as a country artist. I think of more of a folk artist than a country artist, but she said no, he was early country. So
yeah, he was considered at best rockabilly, but mostly was country. So
okay, but I still think the song fit. The song fit for the evening, so I didn't think they were skirting the category by letting him sing that song as opposed to a song that's more well known as a country song. But I liked all three. I was kind of surprised that the Pearl was the one that got the automatic bid into the top six, the lucky six, instead of going into the battle round. But ultimately, I thought Boogie Woogie did the best. I thought he shouldn't have had to have gone into the battle.
Yeah, I thought the same. I was not I mean, I wasn't surprised at who went to the battle and who didn't, but
But as of now, if this was a group where I wish they had the Ding Dong Keep It On bell to make it a lucky 7, this was the group that I wish they would have used it on. Because in seeing Group C, while I'm not sure if there's a clear-cut winner of that group as of now, I'm not seeing a reason on why they would need to put 3 people from that group into a finals and make it a lucky 7 instead of a lucky 6. All 3 people from this group, I wouldn't have been upset if any of them got sent home, except for Boogie Woogie. Yeah. Boogie Woogie would have had no business going home with how well he did across his 3 episodes of that group. But I did guess the Griffin right through the final episodes. I really did think it was James Vanderbeek, especially with the football clue and the sailboat. So I had that right. And I was glad. It was awesome that they brought out his entire family to be a part of his unmasking performance. So anyway, on to group number C, Mike, which was Carnival Night. As we talk about The Masked Singer when it's the first night of a group. Who was your favorite costume of the evening?
Are you saying costume? Or are you saying
costume? Not who. What was your favorite costume, and then we'll go on to what was your favorite performance.
I really thought the Yorkie was hilarious. Hilarious.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
Okay, I think my favorite costume of the evening, I think I really like the stud muffin. The stud muffin I think was a neat costume and a neat idea of it.
Yeah, I think that one was a good one as well.
The Yorkie, I think it fits everything that character is about. All right, Mike, who was your favorite performer of the evening? So if you're in the studio audience, it always asks you to say, vote for your favorite performance of the night. Vote for your favorite character of the night. Not who did the best, who performed the best. It's always, what was your favorite performance of the night?
I probably would say Stud Muffin. As much as people don't like rap being considered as part of this, did a great job.
He did.
Did a great job. And so I'm going to have to say Stud Muffin. I hope the next question is going to be who do you think sang the best? Because that's a different answer for me.
Yeah, it's all in the same for me. I agree with you on the Stud Muffin. I was really, okay. I didn't think with the Stud Muffin that they'd be able to keep up the pace of the song, and they didn't adjust the pace so he could. They did not adjust the pace of the song at all. He did really well with it.
Yep.
But I think my favorite performer of the night and the best performer, song-wise, had to have been the Mad Scientist.
So that is what I think the best singer, vocally. But I'm not a country guy, and especially that type of full-on, I lost my dog. Twang to my song, my wife left too. That whole thing for me is like nails on a chalkboard. Vocally, his performance was the best of the night.
Mm-hmm.
I'm nervous because if he sings like that the whole time, I'm gonna get annoyed with it. Now, okay. I have I'm going to say right here and right now, clue packages, I said immediately as the clue package was finishing, I turned to my wife, I said, I know who Cherry Blossom is, and this is who it is. And I told her who I thought it was. And she's like, huh? How? What? And then as she sang, my wife's like, and then she actually shouted something, which I don't know if they're supposed to do that, but she shouted, for the audience to join her in, and my wife started busting out. She's like, "You're 100% right," and I'm like, "I know I'm right," and so I guess that one as DJ Tanner. We will get to that in a second, but second, the mad science. Do you have any guesses on anybody based on clue packages and singing?
I do not.
Okay. I also guessed the mad scientist is Tim Lincecum.
Yep, the former Cy Young Award winner and World Series pitcher from the San Francisco Giants.
Everything says that he's a great pitcher. Everything. All the clues point to being a great pitcher. And on top of it, if you didn't know, Tim Lincecum was known for being a really good singer in the clubhouse. So, those are my two predictions. Rich? Everybody's saying, who do you think should have gone home?
I think the Yorkie should have gone home.
100% agree, but she didn't. Cherry Blossom did, which, remind you, I predicted early, and I got it right.
It took me until the final clue from the clue cakes.
Yeah.
To
Nope.
to guess who it ultimately ended up being.
I 100% had it right, and it was Candace Cameron Burr, and my wife, she's like, "How did you figure that out?" I don't know. The clues just made sense to me. Yeah, I got that one right. So, boom. I seriously do think it's Tim Lincecum, by the way.
Okay, so we'll see. I think I want to see if he changes it up because with the way that he's saying and it being a well-known country song and how well he sang it, I think it's a country music performer. I'm just not sure which one.
Nope.
But so if he keeps going country and only sings country music songs that well, that could also lead to him being figured out and guessed. And our theory has always been that if the panel is on the track of who it is, like agreeing on who it is, that's usually the person that goes home.
Yeah. By the way, I was slightly surprised.
Exit.
I was slightly surprised with the with how well that nobody got that guess.
Of Candace Cameron?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool hearing that Robin was so close and thinking that, oh, yeah, we did hang out. We hung out a lot.
And the revelation that that they were...
that they dated for like a week.
Yeah. So. Okay, Rich.
That was too. I misinterpreted the Christmas tree clue because I thought it was in reference to who was on The Masked Singer previously as the Christmas tree, which was Anna Gasteyer.
Nope. It was that Candace Cameron Bure has done
Bure
has done like a dozen or more Hallmark ones, and then because she loves Christmas so much, but she doesn't like. And again, we're not getting into politics. I am simply explaining what happened. She did not like some of the choices that were being made at Hallmark. She helped she was a founder of and has since been a star on the family whatever movie channel.
Mm-hmm.
Candace Cameron was a major player in getting that off the ground and getting it going. I think she did better than Yorkie. I think Yorkie deserved to go home. But, my wife pointed out, the Yorkie legitimately was singing in a way that, she kept up.
Oh, yeah, she did.
She did. Her voice was terrible. Not terrible, but it was bad. Her voice was bad, but she kept up. Which is, Candace Cameron, her voice wasn't great. And she kind of had to stop and catch your breath and get the audience to join in and stuff like that. So, yeah. Okay. Anything else before we do shout-outs, Rich?
I don't think so. So I didn't catch what the next night was for Masked Singer. I don't remember what their theme was going to be for next week. But make sure to catch it on Wednesday nights on Fox if you want to watch it live, or if you can avoid spoilers for a couple of days, you can always find it on Hulu or record it. So, or record
By
it.
the way,
like Mike and I do.
Rich, you don't think that the lucky duck clue for the mad scientist indicates that it's a pitcher?
I think it means that it's a former player, but I don't know who.
I'm telling you. Anyway, with that, Rich, do you have any shout-outs for the week?
No, I don't think I do.
I don't think I do either. So, Rich, what's it time to do?
Mike, let's go ahead and roll that outro.
Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa, this is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich.